everyone. So today here we are to tell about CSAT, especially for 2024. And we have a very good coach on CSAT, Meenakshi Tiwari. She has been teaching CSAT and aptitude language for over 15 years, and she has a huge experience of CSAT and the way UPSC has been asking questions related to CSAT, especially comprehension. So we'd like to know her view on CSAT this year, because you know that already it has created a huge ripple in the market, and lots of things have been told on CSAT. But today here not only to talk about CSAT 2023, but also to draw a roadmap that what should be your strategy and how you should approach, so that next year when you appear in 2024, so the first thing that comes in your mind once you come out of the examination hall is that you are clearing CSAT. So we like to know about a bit aspect, a brief aspect of CSAT of 2023 from her, what she thinks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that lovely introduction. First of all, I feel extremely grateful to have this opportunity to share the platform with someone who has touched many hearts and ignited the interest of many people into exploring the scope of public administration and learning a lot, and that includes me. So, from our comments on YouTube videos earlier and during interaction with students in the classroom, I got to know that students come from a diverse pool. It's a heterogeneous mix. So this kind of video or this kind of program helps us know your expectations. As much as it is important for the learners to be aware of who they are studying with, it is important for facilitators like us to know who our audience is or who our learners are. How does that help me? If suppose you've started preparing for this exam soon after your 12th class, I understand you've not studied general studies as much as somebody who's writing 4th attempt or 5th attempt. So I understand during classes, concepts may also be required to help you with. There was a query from a student from this year's CSAT paper, which had passages coming from different areas like climate change. Thanks to Greta, that became a very, very important topic, but that topic has been already in the discourse for a long time, Kyoto Protocol and Paris climate policy. So somebody asked me, ma'am, people suggest us to only focus at what's given in the passage, the words in the passage, the language in the passage, and not go beyond that, not use our common sense or general knowledge. So that made me realize that may be happening because whoever they're studying with, they're trying their best. However, what they're missing, including the learners who are using this approach to just look at passages and not anything else, which is the background knowledge, what they're missing is the key point. This aptitude test is meant for bureaucracy.
Yes, this is what they have to learn, I guess. CSAT and CAT, both are different.
Absolutely. So when I do CAT passages or GMAT passages, I understand I'm also dealing with marketing-oriented passages or based on advertising techniques or philosophy that circulates around or focuses on capitalism and the ways to market a product. But when we come to UPSC CSAT, what is expected is to understand why CSAT, why aptitude. So we often hear that a civil servant is required to be able to adapt to the new requirements of welfare schemes. And you'll be able to add to it, in fact.
Yes, basically what we can say UPSC, in fact, candidates, those who are good at UPSC, syllabus and demands, those who understand, then they know it better that be it any paper, be it even CSAT, UPSC has a habit of connecting the questions
Absolutely.
from the developments which are happening.
Absolutely.
And basically somehow it is also a test of whether students are aware about the developments which are happening, even in comprehension also when they are asking some passages.
And maintain the neutrality element, which is
yes.
they may have a certain personal belief coming from a socio-economic background of a certain kind. But as a bureaucrat, when they face this socio-economic dilemma or let's say challenges of a given policy or a given approach to implement that policy, are they able to look at that policy, that scheme neutrally, impartially? That is when we talk about ruling out extreme statements. For example, as a bureaucrat or as a citizen of this country, I might know many people in this country are illiterate, or many people in this country are poorly informed. They watch paid media or they watch certain such or read certain such resource that may not give them the right kind of knowledge or aptitude. So personally, I may have that belief too. I may subscribe to that thought too. But as a bureaucrat, how do I look at my approach to handling government policies, government schemes in the role of bureaucracy? So I'd like to present to you why is it important to be able to connect the dots using our background knowledge. Thank you so much, sir. What we have in any passage is information. And our ability to connect those dots leads to knowledge. And knowledge, not that we already know of, but knowledge that helps us understand what goes on inside the mind of the author. In one of the courses that I attended with Harvard University, which was on the art of rhetoric and public speaking and writing, I understood that every writer has a certain style. Every writer has a certain sense of using words.
Yes.
And how. And if as aspirants we can look at that, we will be better equipped with...
It's like thinking from the UPSC mindset, what exactly it wants to test.
Absolutely. And so, to exemplify what we've just said, allow me to use a passage on the board from 2020 paper. I hope you can view this passage clearly. It has 4 options and it talks about our urban bodies. Is urban body a part of bureaucracy? Yes or no?
Yes.
Look at the words in bold especially, financing mechanisms, heavy investments, and finally the last line. And look at the way the passage starts. Our urban local bodies cannot possibly ensure sustainable delivery of water in our cities unless, what happens? Financing mechanisms are put in place. So the first line is an indicator of the focus of the passage being on financing mechanism or to finding more money, to be able to generate more money so that sustainable delivery of water can be supplied. Now, as a commoner, I might want government to use populist measure, give me free water, free electricity. That may be applicable in certain contexts in certain cities where the government is efficient or the bureaucracy is efficient. But if the passage is written by an author who believes that there is a lack, which is we don't have enough resources. Look at the last line. Look at the rhetoric of the last line. If our cities were rich enough, agar hamare shahar ameer hote, to meet the entire cost, water could be delivered free. Water could be delivered free. They are not. This is a rhetoric style. तो अगर ऑथर ने यहाँ बंद कर दिया अपना पैसेज, अब आपका दिमाग चलना चाहिए ऑप्शंस की तरफ. कौन सा ऑप्शन सबसे ज्यादा लॉजिकल है बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट यू रेड, बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट यू रीडिंग इन न्यूज़पेपर्स? कौन सा ऑप्शन क्रूशियल मैसेज हमें देता है? तो जब स्टूडेंट्स पहला ऑप्शन पढ़ते हैं, अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज मस्ट रिकवर कॉस्ट थ्रू यूजर चार्जेस, हमें एज अ पब्लिक लगता है कि यार क्यों हमसे पैसा क्यों लिया जाए, व्हाई शुड वी पे फॉर इट? But if we understand how the passage is written, if we understand that we've been reading multiple articles, contrasting views, contradictory opinions on this topic of whether should any government tell public that we'll be able to give you free water, free electricity. How practical is that or not? That is my work as a bureaucrat, to understand that and inform the government or people accordingly. If you'd like to add something to it, sir, it is.
Yes, this is what you were explaining about the comprehension, and people should know that how even rhetorics are used in the passages.
Absolutely.
So it's not about just key aptitude test. In fact, it's also about the way UPSC and civil services are oriented towards. Basically, it's more of the way you can have a demarcation between an IAS and a manager.
Absolutely.
And CAT is a test of a manager, and CSAT is a test of an IAS, the person who is supposed to be.
100%.
So that's why the content of the question also is having different way to test.
Absolutely.
And that is what they have to understand. But before we proceed on that, what we would like to know and we would like to tell, so as we were saying that your take on 2023, because as of now, most of the candidates who are not writing mains 2023, they have one thing in mind, and that is called CSAT. What should be their strategy? Although yes, we have also told in past with videos and others, plus they may have also been getting some of the ways that what they should do, but still, let's say you would like to know how you will tell about 2023 in brief, that what was the nature of the paper, especially on comprehension side, and how they can proceed for 2024.
Sure, sir. So while I am including that in the description box, all this part, which is how this year's paper was different, I am going to briefly cover a mindset approach to be approaching how to do CSAT passages. So, by the way, those who are curious, option number 1 is the answer, and you can talk about it more. You can write to us if you still don't get it.
Yes, you can write in comment box.
Well, look, that's a very favorite column for especially the facilitators, because know your coach.
And it's in our comments, even teachers are also, let's say that
it gives us a direction,
and they are also directly responding to the messages. So
absolutely,
yes, you can ask your doubts.
So I get a direction as a facilitator कि हिंदी में बोलना है, इंग्लिश में बोलना है, कितना हिंदी में बोलना है, how much in English, what words to use, और कैसे इसे simplify किया जा सकता है. उसके मुताबिक I can pitch my course, I can adapt my course. Now there is something else that I want to discuss about. Passages में अक्सर हमारे साथ ये problem आती है confirmation bias की. जब हमारा मन नहीं मान रहा होता किसी option को choose करें या ना. Facts and evidence we ignore sometimes. Why do we? Because we have our own set of beliefs. And this is somewhere between the two. We have the evidence that we think we should believe. So जब आप passages को करना शुरू करते हैं, that is when you understand what the passage demands, how you can approach a passage, and how can you get rid of this confirmation bias. अच्छा, एक और बात जो मुझे यहाँ पे आती है bias से, information bias. A lot of students are watching YouTube videos, free videos, or are attending courses somewhere, and they're simply attending courses or watching videos. This is called information bias. Example, हमें लगता है कि information सुनकर, केवल सुनकर ही हमें passage crack करना आ जाएगा. What we miss is action.
Understanding, like the rhetorics that passage was asking.
So, and how can we understand that? By regularly practicing. अभी एक scale होता है intensity और एक scale होता है consistency का. Intensity शुरुआत में बड़ी ज़्यादा, जैसे ही paper difficult आ गया, सबको उत्सुकता होने लगी. Everybody got curious. What can be done? What more should be done? And as CSAT paper or as the preliminary result was out, the intensity started declining. On the roadmap to preparation, your consistent efforts, even if in small doses, is going to last you long until the end outcome, which will become more predictable if you regularly practice. So there's another book called Outlier. I quote this book because it talks about 10,000 rule. which is another confirmation bias, and that myth has been busted. Somebody said you need 10,000 hours to become an expert in any skill. Now, if suppose you want to improve your English language skill or your language skills, would that mean that if you watch 10,000 hours of Netflix, automatically your skill will improve? Or would that mean that you will see what suits you? You will customize the requirement of that particular exam. You will customize, you will use a tailor-made approach to improve in that context, improve for that exam. So, एक method-oriented approach is required in order to improve. अब सवाल आता है, some students would say, oh, this industry is a scam. जिनको खाना नहीं बनाना नहीं आता, food is a scam. Food industry is a scam. COVID made everybody realize कि भाई खाना बनाना तो आना ही चाहिए. It's a life skill. थोड़ा बहुत तो आना ही चाहिए. Yeah, you have to be around somebody who knows how to cook. So इसी तरीके से when you get into the mode of thinking negatively about something, you might have this ostrich approach. कि भाई डर लग रहा है, ये पैसेज वैसेज तो होंगे नहीं, ये सब खामखा की बातें हैं, तो छुपा लेते हैं, यानी पैसेजेस को इग्नोर मार देते हैं, जनरल स्टडीज की तैयारी करते हैं, क्वांट की तैयारी करते हैं, रीजनिंग की तैयारी करते हैं, इसको गोली मारते हैं. Can you use that approach? That is up to you. That is your choice. But the moment you become aware of your situation.
But I'll tell you that nowadays they cannot ignore.
Yeah, that's there. That is why this.
Now I don't think that any student will think of ignoring. Otherwise, I guess UPSC will ignore you. You know it better. So it has already ignored you in 2023. Although yes, take it sarcastically as we have the habit of talking, but don't feel hurt by this. But what I will say is that you cannot be selective now.
Yes.
To get even 33 and 1/3%
yes.
in CSAT, let's say that you cannot be even selective. So far, I guess candidates used to be selective.
True.
If their quant was good or comprehension was good, so they were selective this much I will do and it is going to anyhow help me qualify.
True. Now I remember.
But even in 80 questions, you know that they are not securing 33 and 1/3 given all the types of questions.
Yes.
So the question is, can they be selective?
Yeah, can they be? Absolutely, as long as it is qualifying. As long as like other exams, say CAT is a one-step exam, and there they have made cutoff criteria a little relaxed for people coming from humanities background and other background. Might that happen in the future in this exam also, that those who feel that they are slightly less privileged to be writing this exam because they've not prepared for CAT or other exams.
But yes, there already petition has been filed in the court. Yes, it has been already filed in the court.
So, you know, a lot of people feel, there's a Hindi poem that says, गोताखोर डुबकियां सिंधु में गोताखोर लगाता है, जा जाकर खाली हाथ लौटाता है, मिले न मोती सहज पानी में, मिले न मोती सहज पानी में, बढ़ता दूना उत्साह इसी हैरानी में, मुट्ठी उसकी खाली हर बार नहीं होती, मेहनत करने वालों की हार नहीं होती. So, when I looked at this one, when you read passages, you feel disappointed. आपको लगता है कि अंगूर खट्टे हैं. याद है वो कहानी कि भाई अब अगर अंगूर खट्टे हैं तो कुछ और किया जाए. बट अगर अंगूर खाने जरूरी हो गए हैं क्वालिफाइंग एग्जाम के लिए, so कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा.
बीट मतलब खट्टा हो या मीठा हो.
Absolutely. So there's another perspective that I'd like to add here कि हमारे long term goal में होता है और civil services में भी ऐसा होता है कि we have to have service minded approach as you teach in public administration lessons, which I remember very well, and we have to be change agents or agents that can bring change in society. So वो हमारा एक lifetime goal है, long term vision है. उसको पाने के लिए milestone goal है ये exam. उसमें further एक छोटा milestone goal है civil services का CSAT paper. Now further, in order to achieve that, What else can you do? You can have process goals. You can have actionable items. If I need to improve my vocabulary, I should. How should I build my vocabulary every day? Am I reading newspaper articles, editorials every day? Is that important for the paper? You can listen to a lot of people who have cracked this paper,
At
and they
this
will tell
stage,
you.
I would like to ask question that is it possible to improve comprehension? Can people improve in language and comprehension?
So,
And before you answer this question, we would also like to tell to our audience, the students, those who will benefit from this, that tell about your academic background, because it is important for building trust also.
oh, wonderful.
Although many a time I believe that academics do not matter, but she has a very outstanding academics, which even let's say that I appreciate and I feel I should also have.
I feel very humbled hearing that, sir. And there's this saying that says, "Jati na poocho sadhu ki, pooch lijiye gyan." If I'm wrong, you can tell me which is the right proverb by writing to us. So, of course, I have a post-graduation in English literature. So I already liked creative writing, and I have a flair for writing, I understand. So I wanted to work on that. A brief stint with journalism happened, post which I realized that instead of reporting news, why don't I do something that gets reported in a positive way so that I can meaningfully contribute to society. Now, soon after my post-graduation, and I had the background of having studied maths, physics, and chemistry for my high school, but then I chose this area of humanities because I wanted to understand what can I do? What is beyond? And I was slightly philosophical in my approach back then, which I'm still till this date. Soon after my post-graduation, I entered full-time into CAT coaching. And my
Yes, I
forte,
know that from when you started preparing for civil services, from that time
absolutely.
you were the teacher also and student means.
Yes, thank you. I feel very grateful for giving me the first chance. As soon as the test started, came into picture, I was asked to deliver certain classes using my CAT coaching approach then. And vocabulary was my forte, but when I talk about UPSC civil services, passages is something which is, I feel, a text that is closer to my heart. And why? Because I also prepared for this exam. And I remember first time when it was introduced, it was not qualifying.
Yes,
That
time
was-
it was part and parcel of merit.
Yeah, and I felt between the devil and the deep sea, where do I go? If I go back and I don't prepare for this exam, I perhaps, like Mark Twain said, 20 years from now, if you look back, you'll regret what you did not do than what you
I guess
did.
you have also some international exposure in your academics.
Yes, so of course, then because I had to expand the scope of my English language training career, so I used Cambridge University's methodology and learned and went on to do a few certifications from there, Erickson Coaching Center, and then a little bit of Harvard, and also now
You're doing public policy.
from Indian School of Business. Okay, this is because I got benefited from the fact that a lot of courses became
Yes,
online.
then we find this diverse background, which we speak in our subject, interdisciplinary, let's say, knowledge.
Absolutely, and I think
So
that is
I
what.
guess this interdisciplinary knowledge can help in CSAT and in UPSC the way CSAT papers are framed.
You're very right there, because that is what is expected from aspirants too. So look, in 2011, there were 39 questions asked. Decision making was also part of civil services. 8 questions were asked. Then in 2012, 40 questions were asked. And these were the years when it was not a qualifying paper. It became a nightmare for students from humanities until they made it qualifying. See, 39, 40, 33, 31, 30, 28, 30, and now you also have this year when you were asked 27 questions. The data is already with you. In 2019, again, 30 questions were asked. So passages happen to be a very important part of this qualifying test. And every year I could only clear CSAT based on my approach to passages, and that's what I tell my students also when they attend my classes, that I'm going to talk about a little more about certain techniques. When they attend my classes, a few of them are already prepared, given their exposure, given their English medium background, or given their attempts at other CSAT or other aptitude tests, CAT or GMAT. So some students are already prepared. They are already at advanced level for passages. So they might just use their own approach because they already have it. They may take a few clues and use those clues and be able to master reading passages very quickly. However, those who are at basic level, they might need a more, let's say, a more insight as to how to be building their capacity to approach this exam. And can that be done? Yes, that can be done if you approach this exam in a process-oriented way, with a methodical approach. So you build your vocabulary, your concepts, the way you look at passages, how you distinguish between could, can, must, how you understand extreme statements. Is sal bhi aisa hua? This year also, there was a passage on climate justice. And there were two options very close. Climate change has been asked several times in UPSC so far. Thankfully, we can understand the pattern of this exam. So doing previous year's papers is very helpful because you understand the approach, the bureaucratic mindset required to crack this paper. So this year, we had a passage on climate justice. जिनको climate justice के बारे में पहले से नहीं पता था, climate justice includes everything, starting from adaptation plans for climate change, mitigation schemes, and looking after climate change victims या migrants of climate change. So a student asked me this question, मैम आपने पहला ऑप्शन आंसर चूज किया है जो कि ज्यादातर लोगों ने चूज किया, क्या वो एक्सट्रीम नहीं है? और उस ऑप्शन का स्टेटमेंट था, और climate justice must be, or climate justice should be ingrained in all climate change policies. So the option read like this. और हम अक्सर पढ़ते हैं हमारी CAT वाली classes में या some other exam classes, we rule out options that have all, never, always. However, we did not negate this option. We did not choose as extreme. Why? You have to ask this question to yourself. Climate change, is it a positive thing or a negative thing? And if you read the passage talks about so far it has not been defined. So far it has been ignored. Then the passage gives you the direction to understand now what is required. If so far it has been ignored, so probably the passage means to convey, suggest that now it is required. So extreme option kya hota hai? This is also your aptitude. So how are you going to approach that is a matter of practice, a matter of understanding where you stand. For that
we have know your progress.
Know your progress test.
So where do you stand yourself if you want to test yourself in CSAT? Because we are also giving so much of emphasis on this. Because now I have started telling to the students that before your civil service preparation starts, and especially those who are targeting for 2024, the first thing they should ask to themselves is whether they are clearing CSAT. And if they are not clearing CSAT, so all their efforts are just, they are going to be waste.
Every question gives you a 2.5 score.
Yes.
And
yes. It's not we are dramatizing, it's not we want to just go for marketing purposes, etc. It's not in that way. You should not join us. So it's not about it's about marketing and what we can say. Rather, it's even we know that we have our students, and there are many good, let's say, students who can do quite good in public administration optional if they are given chance to write mains. We know it. And because since we are talking and conveying also message to our students, so I know also there are other people who are good, let's say, writing mains examination, but there are some also candidates who are qualifying GS paper 1 prelims.
Yeah, by the way, I'm
But
also a part of that process.
yes,
I remember I scored 140, 160 at a certain stage in public administration, but I never got through the preliminary stage. However, do I feel that, oh God, that happened to me? I felt that for a little bit of time. People are also talking about plan B. Is
yes.
plan B going to be worse, or is it going to be equally good, or is it going to be better? For me, this journey has only helped me. Now, when after my preparation got over, I attempted aptitude tests at several institutes because I felt like going back to what I was doing before. I could crack 3 rounds of interviews at 13 places I appeared for an aptitude test. And that sort of made me feel, oh God, I don't think I was that prepared 4 years ago. And what I started talking about made more sense now. And of course, I mean, in private sector, the glamour quotient and the reimbursement part is well taken care of. So I have an equally good life. And when I attended this course with Indian School of Business, what I realized was more than the course helping me, the network, the group of people I got connected with.
Yes.
And none of them are from this background. But still, all of them, every one of them want to be change agents. So what's beyond plan A? Plan B is going to be equally good if you believe in yourself.
So yes, certainly let's see plan B, and as long as there is plan A, we will not talk about plan B. This is what I say to students. So here we'll say that we have a very novel way to deal with, what we have done is going to do basically in July, that a test we are going to conduct, and that test is related to self, we say it as know your progress, we say KYP. Although let's say that KYC is by banks, but we have KYP. So we have named it, and it is a self-assessment test that you can appear in self-assessment test, and we will try to evaluate your weak areas and your strengths. Like say weak areas can be its comprehension, it can be quant, it can be reasoning section. So accordingly, on the basis of analysis of your weakness, we will can tell you that what you should do, or you can have a self preparation also. It's not that you have to join us, it's not necessary. But yes, we did 2 years back. Once we had a test conducted for prelims, and we had over 150 students appeared, and we analyzed their papers for prelims, and we told that what they are supposed to do. So here also we are going to analyze and tell you that what you are supposed to do. And in that, we will try to also assess you in terms of basics, intermediate, and advanced, where the problem lies. Whether you are at basic level, you have problem, you have intermediate level problem, and you have advanced level problem. Accordingly, we have designed the course also, that those who have problems at basic level, we have to spend more, time with them. Those who have at intermediate level, they need to get guidance. Those who are at advanced level, so they need to get guidance accordingly. So advanced level people don't need to have, there are too many classes. They can have some classes, and that can be a brush up type of things. Plus, then it is a throughout, that year program, classes, then tests, and thereafter only tests, every month a test would be conducted. So it will be till, prelims. So it will bring in your process, and the classes are also that we have on Saturday and Sunday. So it does not take your, entire week, you can say. You can focus on your other subjects, but you need to re-strategize yourself in CSAT and in that comprehension. So Meenakshi Tiwari, she has been in fact teaching CSAT since since UPSC introduced, as she has been, associated with our institute. And we also feel overwhelmed by her association. It's such a long, duration, a long journey, you can see. So, and so far CSAT was qualifying. So I will tell we were not having also so much focus on CSAT, but since it has become the way it is, I say generally it is, the qualifying paper has become more difficult than the merit-based paper, paper 1. which is injustice to the candidates, that only Supreme Court decide or the government can decide. Here we can just guide you at best.
अब इतनी गाइडेंस सुनने के बाद भी a few people would say हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत गालिब, दिल को खुश रखने के लिए ख्याल अच्छा है, गालिब ये ख्याल अच्छा. Okay, tell me which is the right quote. But I'd say आउटकम आ गया आपके पास, रिजल्ट आ गया, तो हमारे पास एक संस्कृत का भी श्लोक है, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भु माते संगो स्वकर्मणि. What does that mean? Focus on action, not on outcome. And once you have the result out, don't sit passively and sit in inaction, but take some action, take some step. And there's one more, देखिए पाते हैं उशाक बुतों से क्या फैस. Let's see what you get out of the course. एक ब्राह्मण ने कहा है कि ये साल अच्छा है.
वैसे ये भी ब्राह्मण ही है.
So I'd say if you would use a method-oriented approach that suits you based on your learning requirements, you may be basic, intermediate, or advanced, stay consistent. Make that small effort every day or every week. Do some mock tests, maybe 7 mock tests if you're already advanced, but do them regularly. Space them throughout the year, not just sit until the last part of the year when you are close to your exam.
Here I had to add in this information, in addition to what CSAT we have, I guess there are total 15 tests, I guess. And then there are 10, let's say, complement tests, you can say. You may not be familiar, I guess, some people are familiar with our AIPMT, that is called Tucker All India Open Test, and then Pansutra test. These tests total will be 10 tests, and I guess 10 or 12 tests, which will be on all India basis. So that will also give you even all India. It will also give you opportunity to practice in addition to the test that we have designed. And here it's, let's see, the course, the way we have designed, it's more about we want to work with the students. Especially because many a time I tell sarcastically in my class that if someone is not intelligent in mathematics, you cannot send him to Kota to prepare for engineering, otherwise he would commit suicide. So CSAT problems are, let's say, such problems if someone is weak in mathematics. So it's like building that aptitude would take time.
Absolutely, it takes time. It did with me also.
Yes, because that's why one past video I made it like CSAT, CAT, UPSC, like this.
Yes, right? yes.
So if someone is weak in that section, let's say in any section, even comprehension, you cannot teach comprehension by teaching would and should, I say sarcastically. Right? It takes build. It's related to aptitude, and it takes time to build that aptitude, especially the non-engineers.
It is a process.
Because engineers, even if they are failing to qualify, but they are in that, they will apply a bit of effort, so they can do that because they have been in that. But those who are from humanities and they have not been in that after 10+2, even at 10+2 level also, mathematics may not be their area of interest. That's why they went for humanities and other such subjects.
That's right.
Let's say non-mathematics background. So it certainly takes a bit, because doing those basic mathematics, learning basic tricks of mathematics and reasoning and let's say comprehension. So that is how it should come in you. It should come in your thinking. It should come in your part and parcel of, let's say, knowledge and understanding. And that is how it can help you, let's see, towards the end, especially when you go for 2024. So at least you should not return having a, let's say, that face down, right? Once again, right?
I would say add to that, sir, certainly. So जैसे हम बात कर रहे थे, a civil servant is required to be able to face complex and contrasting socio-economic dilemmas, and that may result into their own socio-economic confusions, or that may result into their own moral and ethical dilemmas as to how to approach that policy. See, I also make slips, I also make mistakes. We all have failures and mistakes, but Do we just stop there or do we learn from there? So having a positive mindset is very important. आपको क्रिबल्स भी मिलेंगे, नए सेल्स भी मिलेंगे, जो काम मिलेगा, अरे कुछ नहीं होगा, क्या करने से फायदा है, लोग ऐसे बातें कर रहे हैं. तो आपको ग्रेटफुल होना चाहिए कि आपके पास YouTube प्लेटफॉर्म है, आपके पास कोचिंग अवेलेबल है, ऑल्टरनेटिव लर्निंग सिस्टम जैसी एक इंडस्ट्री अवेलेबल है. जिनको नहीं हासिल हुए थे वो प्रिविलेज अपने बचपन में या कॉलेज के ज़माने में, उनके लिए कोचिंग इंडस्ट्री इज़ अ फैसिलिटेटर. और जिनको यूज़ करना है वो इसको अच्छी तरीके से यूज़ कर सकते हैं एंड सिलेक्टिव हो सकते हैं अपनी अप्रोच में. आपको कौन सी क्लासेस किस हद तक लगानी है, कहाँ लगानी है. बी ग्रेटफुल दैट यू हैव स्पीकर्स making time to speak to you. This is an opportunity. Be grateful that you have this exam, that you have the capacity to write this test. A lot of people are not even aware. Imagine the population of India now. So be grateful for whatever you have. Focus. If this is the requirement of the test, I will do it. I will use a method-based approach. That's what I have to say today.
So hope that it will help you in bit of improving your understanding further and charting out your roadmap. Generally, even if you want to draw a roadmap, so you can draw with our schedule, which will be given in the description of this video. And that way, let's say you can also plan it, because when we have charted out roadmap for some other subjects, so students have responded that it has helped them in solving their confusions related to how they should chart their roadmap for 2024. So we, in fact, that way also it can help you. If you see the schedule, how the schedule has been prepared, you can also see your Tucker schedule. That can also help you in, let's say, planning at least, let's say, for CSAT, for essay, for GS, for optional, especially for 1 year. Because today it has become a problem now in this, after once UPSC has sarcastically, let's say if you go, we say it as C20. So in that kind of environment, let's say how you should redraw yourself, how you should try to adopt a plan, because so far people have the plan to approach only optional, then to GS, but that way it is compartmentalized. So we have been now telling that you should go for all the subjects, let's say CSAT, GS, optional, taking together, and have a 1 year plan. Especially 1 year means now it is less than, it is almost 9 to 10 months. In that 9 to 10 months, at least 8 months you can have this plan. Thereafter you can make your plan only for prelims. And that is how we'll try to end our conversation. So thank you, Meenakshi.
Extremely my pleasure, sir. And I would look forward to hearing from people who are watching this or people who are going to attend our course and share their expectations with us.
So all the best.
Good luck.